Hi, it's Sylvester, and if you don't know, I really like Fight Club. I've made a number of videos about Fight Club, but it had been a while since I read the book. So I went ahead and reread the book, and man, I really did not remember what happened in the book. It is very different from the movie, and so I have some things to say. However, I am going to be reading from a script for this video, so I'm sorry, I'm not going to be looking into the camera. I know that bothers some people, but it is what it is. Let's get into it. I said in my Why I Love Fight Club video that the book was more gay than the movie, but I was wrong. The narrator never comments on the size of Tyler's penis. I completely misremembered the book and thought that was something that happened when it didn't. And the narrator actually seems to be much more into Marla than Tyler. He's a little bit nicer to Marla than he is in the movie. He tries to make her laugh when he checks her for breast cancer, so there's arguably more chemistry there than there is in the movie. The sex between Tyler and Marla is a lot more unpleasant in the book. They call each other human butt wipes, and it's implied to be more violent in nature than in the movie. In the movie, it seems like the sex is aggressive and rough, but Marla and Tyler seem to enjoy themselves more than they do in the book. I like that Tyler and the narrator in the movie get human fat to make soap from the liposuction clinic instead of stealing it from Marla as they do in the book. Chuck Palahniuk's novels are never super grounded in reality, but it seems extra unbelievable for Marla's mom to be able to keep her own fat from her liposuction procedures to then send to Marla to save so she can inject it into her lips at some point in the future. It just feels like something that wouldn't ever actually be allowed to happen in real life. I mean, later in the book, they do get their fat from a medical waste dump, but they start off with Marla's mother's fat. In the book, Tyler burns Marla's hand with lye, so it seems like he's accepted her into his inner circle, whereas in the movie, she is always a bit of an outsider. I mean, she's still not allowed to be part of Fight Club because it's for men only, but she's a little bit more involved. In the book, Marla actually does seemingly have breast cancer. She has 2 lumps, at least, but she never ends up seeing a doctor to have them checked out. Still, the fact that she likely has cancer just adds to how tragic her character is. It's the reason she started going to support groups. So, unlike in the movie, where she's in these support groups just pretending to be sick, in the book, she actually is potentially dying. So it makes her character more likable, even though I said in a previous video that Marla was harder to empathize with in the book. I was wrong. In the book, the narrator beats Angel Face, and that causes Tyler to realize that Fight Club needs to escalate to something bigger, so he makes Project Mayhem. In the movie, the narrator beats Angel Face in part out of jealousy because he's seemingly becoming Tyler's favorite. I like the way the movie does it. It adds more to the story, I think. In the book, the narrator is more involved with Project Mayhem. In the book, Tyler tells the assault committee of Project Mayhem that they're going to have to kill someone. In the movie, Tyler and Project Mayhem don't really kill anyone. Bob dies, but he's shot by a police officer, not killed by space monkeys, aka members of Project Mayhem. This makes Tyler a little more likable and easier to empathize with in the movie than in the book. In the book, Tyler straight up kills the narrator's boss and a guy named Patrick Madden, who was an enemy of Project Mayhem. Tyler in the book states that it takes $300 to cremate an indigent corpse, hence why the members of Project Mayhem are required to have cash for if they die. But in the movie, Bob dies and isn't cremated. He's buried in the backyard of the house on Paper Street, making it so that having that cash is pointless. As stated earlier, Tyler and the Space Monkeys don't actually kill people in the movie, but they do threaten to cut off people's balls if they interfere with Fight Club / Project Mayhem. In the movie, they don't actually successfully take anyone's balls, but in the book, Tyler actually has the Space Monkeys castrate people. This makes Project Mayhem much more violent in the book than in the movie. The ending always gives me chills. I love it so much. It's better than how the movie ends, in my opinion. The narrator, quote-unquote, dies and goes to, quote-unquote, heaven, even though he's actually in some kind of institution. The end of the book is as follows. Because every once in a while, somebody brings me my lunch tray and my meds, and he has a black eye or his forehead is swollen with stitches, and he says, "We miss you, Mr. Durden." Or somebody with a broken nose pushes a mop past me and whispers, "Everything's going according to the plan." Whispers, "We're going to break up civilization so we can make something better out of the world." Whispers, "We look forward to getting you back." It's so eerie because it leaves you with a feeling of helplessness. Project Mayhem cannot be stopped. Tyler's plan will continue no matter what happens to the narrator, and that's really kind of creepy to think about. He started something that he no longer has any control over. It became so much bigger than himself, and that's both impressive and scary. Now, for some of my favorite quotes from the book. First is, "Under and behind and inside everything the man took for granted, something horrible had been growing." Next quote is, "A moment was the most you could ever expect from perfection." And the final quote that I like is, "You can't teach God anything." So that is what I have to say about the novel Fight Club. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Stay frosty. Bye.